The college basketball experience, Clemson Tigers 2022 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, presented by WynnBet. Bet $100 at WynnBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today.
Hey, this is John Sally, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college basketball experience, Clemson Tigers 2022 season preview episode. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Oh, yes. Oh man, I'm a fan of Clemson hoops. All right, subscribe to the college basketball experience. Remember, you can watch this on YouTube. YouTube.com/the college experience. Check us out because we don't only talk college basketball. We also talk college football. We talk college basketball year round here and on YouTube. Well, we're together as one, but wherever you listen to podcasts at, the college basketball experience is one. The college football experience is one, but on YouTube, we're together. We're joined, if that's a word. And we're together. Let's talk a little Clemson hoops because I think it's a big year for Brad Brownell. I mean, you look at Brad Brownell, he's in what? He's in I think what, year 13 at Clemson. 218 and 166 overall. Well, overall, I guess, including his stops as other head coaches, he's 385 and 251. But he's a very good coach, and I know I get it. I was poking around the internet today. I saw some fans unhappy. They want to get rid of him. I mean, he's never had a losing season at Clemson. Or sorry, he had 2012 was the lone losing season. Yes, he had some close calls, 16 and 15 in 2011, 16 and 15 in 2014, 17 and 16 and 16. Last year was 17 and 16 again. So yes, I get it. Only 3 NCAA tournament berths. Only once has he been past the first round. Oh, and that they went all the way to the Sweet 16 that year. That was 17-18, right? I get the fact that you say, we could be better. We could be better. I know Rick Barnes had this program rolling. I mean, actually, we should do some Dundee plays here. This is the Clemson Tigers. This is a rich program. People say, it's a football school. It wasn't always that way. I mean, yes, football probably always comes first, but I do remember the days of Rick Barnes back in the late 90s. Even Oliver Purnell was getting them to the NCAA tournament some. Cliff Ellis back in the 80s. What was it? Dale Davis they had then? You go look, what was it? Was it Harold Jameson? Harold Jameson they had. Remember Greg Buckner? This is a program that goes back. It goes way back. But yes, I mean, I get it. Okay, if you look at postseason success, actually Brownell. Okay, Purnell, that was the coach previously before Brad Brownell, was Oliver Purnell. He only got there to the NCAA tournament 3 times. They lost in the first round. However, those were his 3 final years. So it seemed like he kind of had it going. He only had 1 losing season himself. You go before that, Larry Shyatt. He only had 1 winning season and you could argue that was Rick Barnes' players there. But Barnes definitely had this thing going. Barnes had 4 seasons there in Clemson, South Carolina, 4 winning seasons, and they went to the tournament 3 of the 4 years. So I understand the argument for bringing in somebody else. even though Brownell's only had one losing season. And maybe this is the year. You know, I think it's a big year for Clemson. You look back at last season. They might have had a winning record, but it wasn't in the ACC. 8-12 within the ACC. Overall record of 17-16. And for us, I thought it was great to see they were 57% against the spread. So they were a good team to bet on, the Clemson Tigers. We are the sports gambling podcast after all. But when you break down the statistics from a season ago, they were 49th in the nation in adjusted offense, 101st in adjusted defense, and I think we'll touch base on that in a second. But 3-point shooting percentage, they were 46th in the nation. Offensive rebounding though 260th, and I think that's something to circle. Perhaps, you know, if you could rebound a little bit better, I think you might find yourself back in the NCAA tournament. 40th in defensive rebounding, free throw shooting 112th, not bad. Pace surprisingly 227th, playing at a little bit of a slow pace. Last year they finished 10th within the conference in the ACC. Like I said, 8-12 within the conference. The last time they made the NCAA tournament was just 2 years ago. They did lose in the first round to Rutgers, if memory serves me correct. Turnover rate, they were turning the ball over 50th in the nation. So, okay, you know, there's some positives there, more positives than I feel like negatives. However, we got to talk about what they lost, because I do think this is going to be a very challenging year. We're going to see how good Brownell can coach. Guard David Collins, he graduated. Remember, he came over from South Florida. This kid was good. Averaged 10.7 boards a season ago. Forward Naz Bohannon graduated. Those two are gone. And then they took some hits in the transfer portal, mainly, and it's a great get for Seton Hall. Al-Amir Dawes, 6'2" guard. He's gone. 11 points a game, 3 boards. He went to Seton Hall. They also lost Nick Honor, who transferred to Missouri. 8 points, 2 assists from a season ago. That's a lot to lose. We'll see how fast they can rebuild it. Now, they went out in the transfer portal and brought in a guy. Maybe they'll continue to do so. They also had a decent recruiting class, bringing in 3 guys that were top 200 players. We're gonna talk projected starting 5. We're gonna talk a little bit about the schedule, the odds for them we haven't had the official odds drop yet on winning the conference, but I can kind of forecast where they would be. We're gonna talk all of that and project really what this team will be doing in a bit. But first, I gotta get us paid. I want to tell you folks out there that the Clemson Tigers college basketball season preview for 2022-23. It's brought to you by WinBet. Yes, bet $100 at WinBet and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by Odds Trader. Odds Trader is a place to compare odds from all the major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promo codes from sportsbook to sportsbook to assure that you get the best deal possible. The app provides player statistics, key game stats, injury reports, projected game day weather, for the bettors that make the most informed bets possible. And also, I love this attribute here. It has a bet tracker, so bettors can keep track of your records for the day. Cross sports, that's always tough for me, especially you get into November where I got action on 10 different college basketball games, 5 college football games, an NFL game. Oh no, an NHL game and maybe an NBA game. And this year we got the World Cup. It's gonna be bananas. So it organizes that for you. Go to oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. OddsTrader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. We're also brought to you by Run Your Pool. And right now you got to get in on this action because we've teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for our official SGPN NFL Survivor contest. It's free to enter. There's some amazing prizes that we will announce soon. So hop in now to reserve your spot. $500 cash plus a $250 gift card. Sign up today over at play.runyourpool.com/SGP. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players. You probably already have a fantasy league on there. I know I do. They just passed 4 million users, and they have this brand new game this over under game that's just fantastic, where you pick 2 or more players in any sport, and you pick the over or under on their projected stat projections. And if you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times to over 20 times the amount of money you put in. And with NFL season right around the corner, Sleeper is the first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. So right now on your mobile phone, join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/SGP, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Once again, that is sleeper.com/SGP, and you'll get $100 match on your first deposit. We're also brought to you by Trade Coffee. Trade Coffee connects customers to the freshest and best tasting coffee they've ever made at home by partnering with the country's best craft roasters. These are independent businesses from big cities and small towns. And Trade customers are truly impactful for these independent roasters, often being the largest source of new growth for them. So, and here's what's great about it. It's expert tasted. All right. They actually have a team. All right. This is the type of team I could maybe play on. I might have to go to the bathroom a lot. I don't know. But Trade's coffee team actually taste tests thousands of coffees every day. They keep over 450 different kinds live and ready to ship out to you any day, every day. There's no one perfect coffee, but there is a perfect coffee from you. And they have a human powered algorithm that's going to find it for you. I can't recommend this enough. My brother highly recommends it. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free, people. That's like $10,000 at Starbucks. Get started today by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/SGP and let Trade find you a coffee that you'll love. All right. Last but not least, we are brought to you by Dave. Yes. Dave is the banking app that can help you get $500 instantly with extra cash. I mean, that's more money to fill your tank, buy a wedding gift. I don't know, catch up on bills. Because let's be honest, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you know, we've all been there at some point in life, or maybe just something came up. Maybe, maybe you were cutting it close. You went out to the bowling alley and old Susan finally gave you the time of day, and all of a sudden you and Susan are going out, maybe spending a little bit beyond your means, and the first of the month is coming. You might need to get yourself out of a jam. I know I've been there before, and that's where Dave can get you $500 instantly. I mean, come on. And here's what's great about it too: there's no interest, there's no credit check needed. All right. Which is huge, because if you're like me, when you were like 20 years old, I destroyed the hell out of my credit. So, you know, they wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole, but now, you know, there's options. I didn't have this when I was a kid. Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member of the FDIC. All right. We are back talking a little Tiger basketball, a little Clemson Tiger basketball. And I think the recruiting class is going to be a huge factor in if Clemson's going to be playing good ball this year or not. They brought in from Georgia, 6'7" forward RJ Godfrey, number 151 recruit in the country. And I think him and this next guy, key players. They also brought in guard Dillon Hunter, ranked 158th from Wichita, Kansas. Dillon, you son of a bitch. quoting Predator. All right. But hey, those two guys I think are going to be absolutely huge factors. And also the third guy, they got 3 top 200 recruits, forward 6'9" forward Chauncey Wiggins coming out of Georgia as well. Those 3, they also have the number 215 recruit in the country from Dallas, Texas, and guard Chauncey Gibson. So 4 freshmen coming in that could be impact freshmen. And I'm going to make the case that they have to be impact freshmen, or Brad Brownell might be working at the Dollar General. All right. They also brought in Brevin Galloway, a transfer from Boston College within the ACC. It's weird, right? It doesn't, but Brevin Galloway, I think he's a South Carolina kid. He played at Charleston previously. Now, last year he averaged 9 points with Boston College, but I would argue that maybe he was a little bit better than 9 points. He was injured a lot of the season. Hard to find your rhythm in the lineup when you've been dinged up. So maybe Galloway can be a guy that can really score for them. I touch on that because their projected starting 5, if you blindly were to pick up a magazine or something, which I don't think they're even out yet, but if you did, I think they would have Brevin Galloway at the 1, Chase Hunter at the 2. Chase Hunter, 7 points a game a season ago. shot 35% from 3. And then at the 3, you would have the freshman Dillon Hunter. Like I said, the kid from Wichita. Him, Godfrey, Wiggins, even Gibson. They need to have a big year because this team is not very experienced. They got Hunter Tyson. I think they'll go with at the 4, 10.6 boards from a season ago. And then PJ Hall, 6'10". This guy was a monster last year for Clemson. He was really good. He averaged 16.6 rebounds. But unfortunately, Brownell's walking into a tough situation because PJ Hall, who was injured last year, was rehabbing. And he got seriously injured. He's out indefinitely. I think knee injury. I think it was something with his kneecap. So this happened, I think, in July. I know they were over there in France playing, but he's out indefinitely for a while. Who knows when we get him back? I haven't seen an official report on when we'll expect to see him, but that's their best player. So those freshmen, and like I said, the transfer portal, they lost 2 key guys. I mean, they lost 4 guys from a season ago that were key contributors. And they brought in some freshmen that we were hoping will be key contributors, and then Brevin Galloway. I don't know. It seems like they got their work cut out for them. You look at the schedule. ACC schedule hasn't been released yet, but we know. I know a few things. I know they get a couple tests in the Big Ten crossover matchup, ACC Big Ten Challenge, which I imagine will be going away very soon. They get the Iowa Hawkeyes. Oh no. Yeah, no. They get Penn State in that game. They get Penn State in that game on November 29th. That's a winnable game. It's a winnable game, but I also think will Hall be healthy then because I might favor Penn State. I think Micah Shrewsbury had a great year there. I mean, considering what he walked into, I know they didn't make the tournament or anything. I like what he did in year 1 in State College. The other games that I know on the schedule, they do play in the Emerald Classic in Niceville, Florida on November 25th. Man, the college hoops schedule. I love the college hoops schedule in November. They get the Iowa Hawkeyes there. And yes, they lost Keegan Murray, but Chris Murray's back. I still think Iowa was probably going to be favored in that game, especially with Hall probably not being available. If Hall's there, I actually think Clemson could win that game. And then they're going to get either the winner of the Cal TCU game, or the loser in that, depending on how that shakes out. But the very next day, so they could beat Cal. I don't think they're beating TCU. I kind of like Jamie Dixon's squad. They also are going to be in the Atlanta Hoops Giving event on December 10th against the Ramblers of Loyola Chicago, and that's a game. But I would still favor Loyola to win that one. I think there's some key matchups there. They also have Towson coming on December 7th. Watch out for the Clemson Tigers this year. I think they're going to be a pretty solid program. But overall, I think what is a great year for Clemson this year? Because honestly, with the Hall injury and how many freshmen are coming in, I think it's very unlikely that they make the NCAA tournament. Maybe they have another year where, he seems to have a knack of finding a way to have a winning season. So maybe another 16 and 15 season, but I think best case scenario, you make the NCAA tournament. I don't think that's likely because of what you got going, and especially the Hall injury is something to monitor. I don't even know if he's out for the season. If he's out for the season, I think there's no way you're making the NCAA tournament. But I will say this, as we know, NIL in college basketball brought back a lot of players. We saw Timmy go to Gonzaga, Baycott go to back to North Carolina. A lot of key players stayed in school. So I don't expect them to be pulling upsets against the likes of North Carolina and some of these other schools. But I do think there is some wins out there in the ACC. Someone's got to win these games. You know what I mean? Like the games against Boston College. How many games are kind of 50-50 games? Boston College, Pitt. I would say Boston College, Pitt, Georgia Tech, NC State. You could probably maybe even throw Syracuse in that batch. That's 5 right there. 5 teams within the ACC that kind of 50-50 games. I would obviously favor Syracuse. I would favor NC State by a little bit, but those are winnable games. So there's some opportunities to get some wins there. Once that ACC schedule is released, it'll be interesting to see what they draw, what they get, but I do expect, North Carolina and Duke to be just on another level like they traditionally are. And I think Miami's going to be really good. I think Florida State's going to be improved. I think Wake Forest is going to be improved. So it's going to be hard to grab wins. What would not get Brownell? He's got to be a little bit on the hot seat, right? Got to be on the hot seat a little bit. I know he's good friends with Dabo Swinney, so maybe that could save his job some. But another thing is Clemson. They get a game at South Carolina. That's going to be interesting. South Carolina. Frank Martin's gone now. He's at UMass. They went out and got Lamont Paris, who then flipped the #1 recruit in the country to come play in Columbia, South Carolina. And that's a game they got to go to Columbia, South Carolina. A little rivalry matchup. I think it's gonna be a tough season for Clemson personally. I really do. I see their odds are better than Boston College's, which I know Brevin Galloway just transferred from Boston College to Clemson. I think Boston College is walking into a better scenario than Clemson is. So along the pecking order of the ACC, I think unless Hall can come back, if Hall is ready to go by December, mid-December, before ACC conference play starts, maybe you could salvage your season. But I do think obviously that's an X factor. He was dinged up last year, and the reports weren't good. I know initially with that injury. So what else do we got? Their odds on, like I said, we don't have the to win the ACC yet, but to win the NCAA tournament, they're basically 4,000 to 1. All right, but. So their odds are better than Boston College's, but I still think BC kind of as we preview all these teams in the ACC, I think BC's got a better situation right now going on the front, like roster wise. We'll see how the freshmen do. I think they're going to tell the tale for perhaps Brad Brownell's future employment, and if these freshmen can come out and play higher than what I'm thinking they can play, maybe you can find yourself into the NCAA tournament. I would cap your highest expectations if you're a Clemson fan at first round NCAA tournament, but I think it's highly unlikely personally. If Hall can get back right away, maybe that can happen. Like I said, someone's got to win those ACC games. There is some room for some wins there, but can they get a winning record within the ACC? 8-12 a season ago. Can they find a 10-10 record in the ACC? I think probably highly unlikely, but I think that's what they should be shooting for. 500 or above within the ACC. Also those out of conference matchups. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they could beat South Carolina, Penn State, Iowa. Like I said, it's probably going to be TCU or Cal, but I would kind of project them to lose to Iowa, so most likely to be playing Cal. That's a winnable game. Can they get those, some of those key wins? Loyola Chicago, can they pull off the upset against the Ramblers and Sister Jean? It's going to be interesting. We'll have you covered. And, we talk college hoops year round here. Folks, don't forget to subscribe to the College Football Experience because our Clemson previews out there. Exciting time of year because obviously Clemson, Georgia Tech, Labor Day. I can't wait to watch that one, and can't wait to talk Clemson as the season heats up. I know that big game November 5th at Notre Dame. Cannot wait for that one. A couple other ones. The ACC is a lot of fun. But yeah, overall for this team, I think they'll go as the freshmen go, and I think obviously health a huge X factor for Brad Brownell this season. I'm a skeptic. I'll say that, but I'm rooting for you, Clemson. All right. More to come when we get the odds for the ACC for every little detail. All right. This is, we handicap every single Division I college basketball game. I once the season tips, I come to you every night. We cover every game there is. So subscribe, tell a friend, folks. This is the College Basketball Experience. Give us a follow. And remember, subscribe on YouTube to the College Experience. That's youtube.com/the College Experience. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. We're part of the Sports Gambling Podcast, and we do shows there all the time. But the Sports Gambling Podcast, they're breaking down all 32 NFL teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the land, much like we do with college football. 131 episodes. They're all out there. Go listen to them. But yeah, the NFL futures, they're going through it. Season's right around the corner, much like with college football. So if you're a Falcons fan, if you're a Panthers fan, if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I don't know, Washington Redskins, I don't know. It's all out there for you. Check it out. We just had Pat McAfee on the show. We had Mike Leach on the show, and a few other fun ones. Phil Steele came on. He talked a little Clemson Tiger football. Go check out all that stuff. Check out all the other podcasts that are on the platform. All right, at Sports Gambling Podcast, we're doing a lot here at SGPN. So it's summertime. What sports are going? MLB Gambling Podcast. Check out that. It's summer. We're waiting for the NFL Gambling Podcast. Check out the NFL Gambling Podcast. CFL is going on up there in Canada. I'm tuning into some of that action. I'm football deprived. All right. Check out the CFL Gambling Podcast. We just have a ton of them. NASCAR Gambling Podcast, Formula One Gambling, MMA Gambling Podcast. Just check them all out. Soccer. We got the World Cup coming. Soccer Gambling Podcast. Get the SGPN app. You'll have access to all of that. Hop in the Discord channel. One of my favorite things to do is, I'm a married guy now, so I'm just sitting there trying to find, I grew up in a household of guys watching sports, so now it's like I'm home. I'm watching this boxing match. Is anyone else watching this? Let me hop in the Discord. All right. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Whatever the sport is, we got you covered. All right. All right, folks. I'm wishing for the Tigers, but I think it's going to be a tough year down at Clemson. All right. This is the college basketball experience, Clemson Tiger style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
And I'm after you, buddy. You're gonna pay for it. Good night.
When we were winning conference titles and going to the Final Four, we were making a statement. Well, I don't get great day.
Get my limousine right on 85. Get my Learjet, woo, and take off to New Orleans.
They're begging us. Please have a party. Beat us drinks. Get us laid. Ow!
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that? You broke
back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or portion?
Spinal.
It's easy to see a tide turn